Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. I'm from the north of England, and my name is Tony. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl 3 years younger than me, with my parents. Many of the important events in my childhood can be traced back to the fact that I was my mom's little angel. As soon as my mom got a girl, she didn't treat me very well. It was all about the girl, my sister now. We are Irish Catholics and come from a very poor family. My mom had a hard childhood and wanted the best for her little girl. It was too bad that we boys didn't seem to care about that, and my sister thought she was really a princess. If my parents weren't Irish Catholic, they probably would have split up. But my dad just let my mom handle things most of the time and only got involved when the boys needed to be disciplined. As for us, we were never what you would call rich, but we did more than enough to get by. We all acted a little crazy because my brothers and I were always jealous. I did something different and started dressing up as a girl. I think I just wanted my mom's attention. I knew it was wrong, or at least back then I thought so, but I did it anyway. I began by taking my mom's clothes, but my sister and I didn't differ much in terms of size, so I tried on her clothes as well. My sister liked to dress a little older than her years, and my mom let her. It wasn't the most fashionable thing for girls her age, but it wasn't baby clothes either. The size was about right for me. Maybe a little smaller would have worked too. When I think about my youth, I don't feel very fond. I'm 40 now, I live in a different town, and I've grown up. I went to 2 schools and got kicked out, and I did my fair share of making trouble. I got in a fight with my sister in late July 1978 while I was on summer break as a teen. Things got pretty bad. The only time in my life I ever been this angry. I was being pushed around and teased by her and a couple of other girls. I punched her because of something that happened, only once, but she was out for almost 20 minutes. My parents lost it, and they did everything to let me know how bad I behaved. A little over 2 weeks later, my mom took me shopping with her in town. I thought things were a little less crazy. This wasn't too strange because she was using a strategy called divide and conquer, and my sister was at a birthday party. It started out like any other day. I was whining and being dragged around boring shops to look at who knows what. Then things changed when my mom dragged me into the store that sells school uniforms. In a little over a month, the new school year began, and she said she wanted to check rates and spots. She moved around and looked at a few things before going into the girls' area to look at the navy blue pinafore dresses. "Come here," she told me. She was still being very strict with me because of what happened, and her voice was as firm as ever. "Turn around." While I did that, she hung a pinafore against my back. "Mom!" I went to move around. She yelled, "Hold still!" and grabbed my arm to keep me still. "I want to judge for size, and you're about the right size." I kept moving around and looking around in fear. The store was almost empty because it was early in the shopping season, and the only employee who was looking at us with a bored face. I kept having trouble. "You know you're the right size because you've worn her stuff often enough," my mom yelled at me. The words and the poison made me freeze. Up until that point, I had no idea what she was trying to say, and ever since, I've thought about what might have happened if I had responded differently. As it was, I almost passed out. She was a woman whose energy was high. Right away, she told me I had to try on the dress, and I was put into the change room. During the whole process, she talked to me, but I can't remember a word of it. My thoughts were a blur. Did I really just try on girls' clothes? I mean, I did it before and secretly liked it, but this time it felt for real. In the end, I wore a slip, a jumper with a round neck, gym shorts, and, of course, the navy blue pinafore with white knee socks. The shop worker followed my mom around and talked to her about things as they went along, making ideas and getting things. I remember that my mom was upset that they didn't have any shoes left, but the shop assistant came up with gym shoes, those awful black canvas things with the elasticized top, and I wore my whole school outfit for a girl as we left the store. In 1978, my mom made me look in the mirror and spin a few times. My hair was pretty long because I hadn't cut it since the summer. I looked like a girl. The spell broke as soon as we left the store, and I was able to walk around in a dress. I thought everyone was staring at me, and they probably were. But oh God, did I enjoy it. I was flying around all over the place, dancing and making noise. Again, my mom grabbed my arm and told me in a very serious voice that I would have to wear that uniform to school. I put my faith in my mother because she didn't lie. Then we went shopping for about 2 hours. I was scared that we would run into someone I knew, so I stayed close to my mom and tried not to stand out. People in 2 stores told me I was being a very nice young woman. My mom made me try on a lot of clothes at a department store. I must have looked terrible because my face was on fire. After that, we ate something. As we sat in the cafe, she talked about bra fittings, and I started to think that she might send me to school next month as a girl. I didn't even taste my food. My stomach was full of butterflies. As soon as we left, we went into another department store to look at training bras. She left without buying anything, though. At that point, I had lost all male feelings and was completely ready to accept my fate. She saw some jewelry she liked as we were leaving the store, and we spent 30 minutes trying on different pieces. I don't think the shop worker knew what was going on because she was so focused on making a sale. I know, I didn't say or do much. I couldn't try on the earrings, and she gave my mom a deal on getting her ears pierced. When she looked at me, her eyes got bright. She ran her tongue around her teeth and agreed that it was too good of a deal to pass up. I was super scared but knew this would make me more girly, so I walked to the seat. I almost cried, but I couldn't say anything because my ears were pierced and gold studs put in. It hurt a lot, but in the end, it was worth it. As a part of the deal, I also got a coupon for a makeover. My face was lightly painted and my hair was brushed out. I was a happy girl that day. However, I felt like I had on a mask that was meant to make people notice me. I was sure that everyone was looking at my ears, which felt like they had a flashing light on them that both drew attention to me and let everyone know that I was a boy in a dress. I still think of it as being self-conscious because my whole body seemed to be focused on my ears, which I didn't like. We got back in the car and I started to dread going home. I wanted to shop longer. As soon as I was alone in the car, I started crying. I got a look from my mom, who told me to stop whining. We were on our way home when we stopped at a different store where we bought some makeup. There was no turning back now. I was ready to transform into a girl. We got back in the car and drove home. When we got home, the drive was empty. My mom said that everyone must have left to pick up my sister from the party since she hadn't seen anyone else. She made me help bring in the groceries. I don't know what the neighbors saw, but it took me 30 minutes to bring everything in, and I had to make several trips back and forth because they didn't give out free carrier bags back then. I waited for either a neighbor to show up or my family to come home. It turned out that everyone else had seen a movie. In the end, I was able to clean up and take off my earrings. I was happy to give up going to bed early so I could take off my uniform, which I hanged in my mom's closet. I had too much anxiety to face my family in this outfit. Before my family came back, I was already asleep. Every part of my body and mind was totally worn out. For the next 3 days, I didn't leave my room much, but no one else seemed to notice. Over the next few years, my mom put clothes on me and helped me get comfortable. She also kept putting in new earrings and having the hem fixed. Even when it wasn't cool, I wore my hair long to hide what I thought was a clear sign of something I didn't know what it was. Nothing was as intense as the first time, and I still remember it vividly. The longer you dress up, the easier it gets. I kept to myself mostly, only coming out of my room for meals and the necessary family interactions. The house was always filled with a tense air, thick with unspoken words and sidelong glances. My brothers, who were always more interested in football and roughhousing, didn't pay much attention to my changing appearance, or they chose not to. My sister, on the other hand, seemed to relish every opportunity to throw a sly comment or a mocking look my way. Despite the discomfort, a part of me enjoyed the dressing up. The feel of the soft fabrics against my skin, the way the clothes fit snugly around my body. It was a secret thrill. I found solace in my room, surrounded by the clothes that were slowly becoming more and more mine than my sister's. I experimented with different combinations: a floral blouse paired with a pleated skirt, a pair of tight jeans with a delicate lace top, a cardigan draped over a sleeveless dress. Each outfit was a new adventure, a new exploration into this side of myself I was only beginning to understand. It wasn't just the clothes, though. I started experimenting with makeup as well. My mom had an array of products that she rarely used, and I took advantage of that. I learned how to apply mascara, getting it just right so my eyelashes looked longer and fuller. I practiced with eyeshadow, blending different colors to see what suited me best. Lipstick was my favorite, though. The transformation it brought with just a few swipes was magical. I preferred softer shades, pinks and corals that added just a hint of color. My hair, which I had been growing out, became another form of expression. I learned to style it in different ways, sometimes letting it hang loose and other times tying it up. I even tried on wigs of various lengths and colors, reveling in the way they completely altered my appearance. This secret life of mine continued for a couple of years, with only minor interruptions. My parents were too caught up in their own issues, and my siblings were too self-absorbed to really notice the gradual changes in me. It was during one of those rare family gatherings, a birthday party for my younger brother, that everything came to a head. The house was full of relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, the usual noisy crowd. I'd been careful to dress in a way that wouldn't draw too much attention. A simple t-shirt and jeans, my hair pulled back in a low ponytail. But even then, I felt the weight of their stares, heard the hushed whispers as I passed by. It was my aunt who finally brought everything out into the open. She had a few drinks in her and was always more outspoken than was good for her. "Tony, is it? Or should I say Tony with an I?" she slurred, her eyes scanning me up and down. The room went silent, every eye on me. My heart pounded in my chest and I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead. My dad, usually so passive, surprised everyone. He stood up, his voice steady and calm. "That's enough," he said, looking directly at my aunt. "Tony is my son, and it doesn't matter what he wears or how he chooses to express himself. He's part of this family, and we support him." Those words, so unexpected from my father, broke the tension like a burst balloon. Conversations resumed, albeit with a new, more cautious tone. My brothers clapped me on the back, a silent show of solidarity. My sister, her expression unreadable, simply watched me from across the room. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about my dad's words. They had given me a newfound sense of feelings, a feeling of belonging that I hadn't realized I was missing. It was a turning point for me, a moment that would define the rest of my journey. In the following years, I continued to explore my identity, sometimes in private, sometimes more openly. I experimented with different styles, different looks, finding what felt right for me. I learned to embrace my uniqueness, to celebrate it even. Now, as I look back on those years, I see them as a time of growth, of self-discovery. I may have started that journey seeking my mother's attention, but I ended it finding myself. And in the end, that was the most important discovery of all. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.